Good evening and welcome to Sporlitiks, where sports and politics mix and mingle. I'm Stacey Johnson. Joining me tonight is Aguna, who's late, the Nigerian moderate Republican. Keith, he's getting his book, the constitutional conservative. Oh, he doesn't have his constitution.
I got it.
He's stuck. Stephen, the independent thinker. And my cousin Todd. We have a packed show for you tonight. Steph Curry and Sabrina Ionescu did go head to head to crown basketball's best three-point shooter at the All-Star game this past weekend. You should already know who won. FBI informant charged with lying about Joe and Hunter Biden's ties to Ukrainian energy company was arrested. Daytona 500 with Steven is back. He'll talk about the winner, Byron. And Russia takes Advidka from Ukraine, its biggest gain in 9 months. Nearly 153,000 people enrolled in Biden's new student loan plan will get an email today telling them that their debt is canceled. Is it you? Please text us, put it in the chat and let us know. Hit us up and let us know if you were one of those people, because it wasn't me. Fonnie Willis's case.
No, how can it be you? You're 70 years old.
Fonnie Willis's case is ensnared in legal arguments during testimony about a romantic relationship timeline. James Biden, President Biden's younger brother, testified today behind closed doors in a critical interview with Republicans as the GOP looks for a lifeline into an impeachment probe for the president. Navalny has died in a Russian prison, and CNN says that Trump's crushing fraud trial defeat is a microcosm of a life defined by breaking all the rules. That and more, if we can fit it in. First up, Stephen, what's going on with Daytona 500? William Byron won. Do you want to talk about it?
Yeah, I mean, this is the Super Bowl of racing. Their biggest race of the year, and it should be so pushed forward. I think it just came 1 week too early this year, but it's pushed forward every year as like the Super Bowl of racing. This is the number one thing. Everybody wants to win Daytona, and it's true. It's Daytona 500. But there wasn't that much build-up for this race, but it was still a great race. And Byron got his first win. He did great last year. He'll probably do good this year. Really, really, really good. Bunch of top tens mixed in. But this race, if Todd got into a car that they fixed for him and let him, practice for about a year, he could have won the race, because this is a crazy race. It's all about the car. It's not about the drivers, really. It's all about you just right place, right time, and you don't get in a big accident, and you follow somebody, and you get in the draft. That's all this race is. And it can be really monotonous, because a lot of times for a long time in the race, you're just seeing cars follow each other, till you get near the end of the race, and people try to win, and then huge crashes happen. That's why cousin Todd could win, because he might be the last one standing and everybody else can go out. This is what happens. And this is basically what happens here. Well, William Byron took somebody out early, and it messed everything up, messed other people, but he made it through. If you wreck somebody the majority of the time, you're going to make it through. But next week we have a race that is nobody on this show could possibly win. It's Daytona. It's a 1.5 mile track, and it's like what they call a cook. It's the Daytona is like 2.5 miles, and they're going 190, nearly 200. It's a whole different track. This is 1.5 miles, and they call it a cookie cutter because there's so many like these, but they all have their own distinct personalities. But this one here, like Chase Elliott, number 9, you should take him to do a match bet. I mean, take him against whoever they put him against. Take him for a top 10, a top 5 for this track, because he's really good here. And his daddy was Bill Elliott, and he was really good at Atlanta. So that's when the driver comes in as well, not just the car, because all these cars are so much alike. But this next race it's going to be more competitive. The entire race is more competitive. Daytona's competitive. Like somebody told me this weekend, they said, reminded me, you only have to see the last 10 laps, and that's where all the action is.
Right. You see right there, I'm showing the screen some sort of, let me see what the caption says for that. Hendrick could barely contain his elation in victory lane. It doesn't say who was crashing right there. And I can't see the car's number. Can you?
It was everybody was crashing. I think that might have been the big one. And when there was like 20 cars involved in it, it was crazy.
That is crazy.
Yeah, and then there's cars flying and everything. Everybody's getting, but you know what? These cars got the different composite. They'd made some different, and they're so safe now. And everybody walked away from this race. And that's what we want. Everybody loves action, but nobody wants anybody to get hurt to where they can't race the next week.
Exactly. Perfect. Thank you. Let's go on to actually golf. And somebody's son is attempting to qualify for the PGA.
Is it Tiger Woods?
Cognizant Championship. So Charlie Woods attempts to qualify. This is according to SportsIllustrated.com.
Michael Jordan's son?
No.
Yeah.
The son of the 82-time.
He's 82 years old?
No, 82 times.
Tour winner. He won the tour 82 times, is ramping up his competitive schedule. He also got an exemption to play his first AJGA event.
Tiger Woods' son.
How can he be 82 years old and he's, you know what? Just forget I said anything.
We gave up.
So, sorry, let me go back. Tiger Woods, Charlie Woods, 15 years old, has officially entered Thursday's pre-qualifier at Lost Lake Golf Club in Hobe Sound, Florida. Woods will need to advance through 2 competitive stages of qualifying in order to earn a tee time at the Cognizant Classic, which will take place from February 28th to March 3rd at PGA's National Resorts Champion course. And that's Tiger and Charlie.
Yeah, Stacy, this is going to be so much fun to watch for so many years. And we get on the ground level. You know, nobody knew at the very beginning how great Tiger was going to be. But now you know his son's going to be great. And from the very beginning, it's like watching Tyson's amateur fights, you know? Or, I mean, this is a pro. He's trying to get in pro. He may or may not get in. But this journey right here is going to be so much fun. It's so great for golf.
Wow, he looks older than I thought he would be.
He's 15.
Yeah, my goodness. Yeah.
Well, he's not all black. He's part white.
But he's all white.
Well, that ends the race card. That's for sure.
What?
Well, Tiger's half Asian.
Never mind.
So he's
going to be good. You know he's going to be good.
Okay, ignorant people, he's multiracial. That means he's made up of different races.
I love it. Diverse.
Hey, ignorant person, Republican. His father is black. The old racist white rule is 1 drop of black blood and you are Negroidian.
Come on. Stephen, is that true?
That's your
that's bull crap, man. Don't hang your 1 drop on me, brother.
Right. Wait a minute. This is what you white people said.
I know. I'm messing with you. I'm just playing.
Yeah, so Keith doesn't know that because Keith will retract whatever he was saying.
No, it's all good. It's all good.
All right. Well, that was dumb and ignorant to say, Cousin Todd, but of course you would say that.
The truth will set you free, Trump supporter.
That was dumb and ignorant to say, but of course you would say that. You can't help yourself. We're going to move on to the NBA
what I was saying was initially Keith said, "Oh boy, he looks old." I didn't think he would look that old. And I said, well, he's part white.
Oh, I get it now because black don't crack.
Thank you, ma'am. Tell your boyfriend.
Oh my gosh.
Stop saying that, Todd. Keith
What are we
is married and he wants you to stop saying that. Stop saying that, Todd.
All right.
Hey,
Tell
we're
your buddy.
boys. We're boys and we're friends. That's all it is, man. It's not sexual.
No, if you can be
We're just
buddies
boys.
if you
He's my
want.
boy. My boy. We're friends. That's all it is, man. I know what you mean.
Sure. Thank you.
All right, I'm going to move on. Welcome to Sporlitiks, where sports and politics mix and mingle. We just met Pastor Deese. Pastor Deese, welcome to Sporlitiks, where sports and politics mix and mingle.
You know, he ought to
We
stop
had
with that stuff.
we had a comment about two things. One, Keith wants to say something to you, but the first comment was about Tiger Woods' son is going to compete to get into the tournament. Do you want to comment on that? Charlie, 15 years old.
Oh, I don't care about that family.
Oh, see? There another
He doesn't check. He doesn't check the box.
Yeah.
All right.
His daddy wasn't black enough.
So we're going to move on to the NBA All-Star
That
Weekend.
was a good one. Oh my gosh.
I'm
That's how
sorry.
you know
I got a little sick. I've never seen someone
That's how you know it was a good one. He had to comment on
My
it.
God.
You see the picture that Steph Curry and Sabrina Ionescu. Am I pronouncing her name correctly? I'm sorry, Sabrina, if I mispronounced.
Probably not.
They went head to head to crown basketball's best 3-point shooter during the All-Star weekend. I watched the whole thing and the dunking contest. And although she used the WNBA ball, which I was told was different than the NBA ball, she still lost to Steph Curry.
Well, no doubt.
Oh, you are
and the
so rude
three-point
to
shooter.
point that out.
he's a
rude.
man.
That's a man, right?
That's a man.
No,
We're talking about
that's
boys.
a woman. Stop saying that. That's not a man. That's a woman.
Okay.
No, it's Steph is a man. I don't care if he's got a girl's name.
I'm just trying to be honest. I don't know.
What?
Well, these two lovebirds are competing with each other, number one. What Stephen was saying was Steph Curry is a man, and what this demon was saying was that the girl was a man.
Right. That's right. But he's not a demon.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, that's debatable. So anyway, Stacy, how you doing? Cousin Todd, how
Good.
you
How
doing?
you doing? Thank
Good,
you.
Thanks.
Doing great.
others?
Thank you. Hope you're well. Hope your family's well.
You know, Oz.
Others as
Yes.
well.
Say hi to Satan's little sister.
Thank little sister.
So no, this was something that they planned out a couple of months ago. I really think it was a good exercise. It's a way of promoting the WNBA where you get her a superstar in her league on the same level as Steph Curry in a contest that we all know Steph Curry was gonna win. But just the fact that she was competitive, she actually tied the score of the regular 3-point champion winner, which was Dame Lillard this year.
Wow.
So she did really well, and
I didn't know.
the whole point of it was to get her in front of this national audience. So yeah, I think the NBA did a good job with that. I think they'll do the same thing with Caitlin Clark next year or whenever she comes to the WNBA. But yeah,
I agree with you, Nas. That's a good idea. That's very smart. They never done it before. That's a good idea. I agree with that.
They did do this before in tennis. Stacy was going to talk about it.
I mean in
You go ahead and
basketball.
talk about it, Cousin Todd.
Are you talking about Billie Jean King when she played that dude?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. How did you know? That's exactly what Todd was going to talk about.
He's Billie Jean King's age, so he was around watching it. So anyway,
I saw the match,
and I forget his name. It came to me, but then it left.
Was it Arthur Ashe?
No.
No.
He wasn't a ranked tennis player. He used to play tennis, but he was just a loudmouth, money grubbing show off.
He was a white dude.
Was it Bobby Riggs?
Yeah, Bobby Riggs. He was a white dude. He was out of shape. He hadn't played in years.
who didn't think women should make as much money as men for doing the same sport as men. And anyway, he challenged her to a match and she accepted.
And she won.
It was good for tennis.
And she won.
Yeah, he's older than her.
Everybody knows that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but somebody on watching this show might not know they're not as old as you, Todd, because you probably watched the match. You were probably there.
You just stole my joke, you freak.
I know that's what you said about me. You didn't say I was probably there. You didn't even say I watched it. You said I'm old enough to remember it. I have you at the game. That's how old you are. You're old enough to go to the game. I watched it when I was 7. I wasn't old enough to go to the game.
Oh, okay.
I think you're older than me.
Y'all saw the match. We get it. So NBA All-Star Weekend, to close out the topic. I mean, it's the same as every other All-Star Weekend. Sometimes the dunk contest is going to be good. Depends on who's in it. Other times, it's not going to be so good. And honestly, we get just as much fun complaining about the dunk contest when it's bad as we do celebrating when it's good. So it's win-win for the NBA. Go search
So it must have
media.
sucked this year, right? It sucked, Nas?
Yeah, it wasn't great.
Okay.
Mac McClung won again. He was good. Everybody else, not so much. A couple other people were good, but wasn't great. But that's just kind of how that game goes. And as far as the All-Star game, I have no idea why people keep getting mad about this every year. Like, we get a really good All-Star game. Very rarely does that happen. Like, you could think of the Magic Johnson time years ago, the Michael Jordan one with against Kobe and company. But, you know, All-Star games typically aren't very entertaining. It's kind of a relic. Back in the day, before we had interleague play in baseball, basketball, and football, the only time you would see certain stars was in these premier All-Star games, because they would only have, you know, so many road games and so many nationally televised games and stuff like that. So the All-Star games were a big deal way back in the day. But now that, you know, we see these folks all the time, it's not really, you know, it's not that much of a thing. So it's just ultimately a good weekend to have fun in. But I bet you they don't do it in Indianapolis again. It's going to be a long time before they go back to Indianapolis. They probably will go to bigger cities from now on.
Oh, they didn't have enough to fit their needs?
Yeah, people were complaining about the entertainment there for Indianapolis for the weekend.
Oh, yeah. It's kind of dry.
Well, it's really interesting because that's where I'm going to have my family reunion this summer. One of my family
That's great for a family reunion.
Is in Indianapolis.
That's great for a family reunion. Not for a big crazy party.
So, you know, I want to talk about the NBA All-Star Dunking Contest. I watched the whole thing beginning to end. They had former NBA dunking contest winners judge, about 5 former NBA players. And these new guys, they judged the new guys much harsher, I think, than they should have, because they were giving them like 46 and 47s when the new guys were trying to introduce new things to this dunk contest. So, for example, one of the new things they introduced is they pulled Shaq out right there on the court, and they put Shaq there and they let him put his, like, a ball on top of his head. Now, you know, Shaq is what, 7 foot what?
7'2", give or take.
Yeah, and can you imagine, he put his hands up and put a ball on top of his head, and then someone came behind him, jumped over top of Shaq, picked up the ball, and slammed it into the basket.
Wow.
Are you joking? Joking. I want to see this.
No.
Or did he didn't use a springboard or anything?
No.
Did he duck down a little bit at all?
No.
He just jumped over him and did that. Man, that's not human. That's not human. Hey, did he win? That guy should have won.
Yeah.
He did win, but 2 of them did it, and they didn't win, but McClung did it, and he won. And then someone had his brother out there, and they did the same type of thing, and he won. I'm trying to look for one win. Oh, here it is. I'm trying to find.
They should do the high jump, Stephen.
Man, that is crazy.
In the Olympics.
They can't jump that high on the moon, Keith.
Yeah, they don't jump that. That's pretty good. Only
That's
black
crazy.
A black man be able to do that.
Well, that's clearly a white man. What's wrong with you, man?
Oh, it was? Wow.
Seriously, are you doing
Let me share my screen.
We can't. I don't think we can see it yet. Um,
I'm going to share my screen. Wait a minute.
what's his name?
So Mac McClung, who's won
Pastor
the dunk
D's
contest
nuts.
back-to-back years, yes, is a young white man. Like,
All right.
Oh
Hey,
yeah, he's the guy that went off last year and it freaked everybody out, right?
yep, same guy.
Okay, so he won it again this year.
Yes.
Oh man, he's
He
a
won it
freak. I
again.
want to see that what he did because he freaked me out last year. For him to even go and do more than he did last year, I'm sorry I missed it.
remember the
what?
movie? You remember the movie White Men Can't Jump?
Yeah, that's why it's in Hollywood. Most things in Hollywood are just fiction, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is just proof
Oh,
that if
like
Steven
this.
pulled himself up by his bootstraps and practice, he could win a dunk contest, but he's too lazy.
I
Wow.
used to be able to dunk a ball when I was a kid.
All right, so here we go. I'm going to play. This is Jamie Jacquez.
But you're right, I might be able to do it
Jamie
again if I try.
Jaquez.
Wow.
Oh, did I say his name wrong? I'm sorry.
Yes, do not
Oh, and that
downplay
was
his
Shaq.
Mexican heritage.
Oh, that was another guy. That guy's
Yeah,
my
he did
cousin.
Shaq.
Look, he's my cousin.
No
Shaq-
springboard.
Wow.
Shaq is bending over a little bit. But
Just
that's
a little
good.
bit.
He's got it, but that's awesome.
Wow.
He's got my hair.
And he did it without
Jaime
trampoline.
Jaquez.
I bet you his neck was sore after that night.
He did it without a trampoline or anything. So that's good.
They did it without a trampoline. That's him and his brother.
He got
Wait a minute,
springs in his
so
shoes.
Aguna's gone and Cousin Todd is gone?
Yeah,
You got it.
Aguna ain't shown up yet.
Phony pass.
Aguna's not joining us. He forgot us. And
Oh,
he had another appointment. You see the judges.
yeah, it's because we're his sideshow.
We're his sideshow, yes.
Amazing.
So now you're going to see. Then they just did. The judges scored higher when the NBA players just did dunks like this. They got higher
Really?
scores.
For a little
When they
basic
used
dunk?
props, they got lower scores.
Oh, I don't know. It's not a bad dunk, but I like the props. I like him jumping over a Volkswagen Beetle or something.
Yeah, so basically, Jaylen Brown is an all-star level player, and he's the only real good player who entered, and that doesn't happen often. So it felt like they were giving him better scores, but yeah, he was not good.
Oh wow! Yeah, I want to see it now. I'll catch it on replay now.
Well, the
They're
real
going to show it, I think.
the real test is when you can do that under pressure.
You see how he did that? Did you see that? Look at this. Look at this.
Yeah.
Look at this. Look at this.
That's bad. Oh, that's awesome, man.
He lifts the ball up and drops,
He's just like the guys that do the bikes, flip the bikes around over and over and over, and
Right.
let the bike go and then grab it again. It's awesome,
Right.
man. That's his mentality. You can tell he's one of them skateboarder dudes.
Yeah.
Right.
The real test is when you do it under pressure in the middle of a game.
But they ain't jumping over nobody's head during the game.
No.
No, they're not doing that then.
It's so much fun. I wish it's good.
Yeah.
Stacey, you didn't give me a heads up. Oh, you probably said something on the last show that I missed. I would have watched it if I had the head. I didn't even know it was on. I've been so busy.
Those are just regular dunks. I'm gonna fast forward. So I'm gonna fast forward.
Oh, that's my hair.
Todd's missing all this.
He's probably watching. He's
Jaylen
probably
Brown
watching.
from Boston. He did it with a glove on, like Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was terrible. Anyway, Aguna said if Steven and Keith cash app him, he will show up for the show. But unless they pay him, he will not be appearing.
Unless we do what? Cash app?
I don't know what he's talking about.
I don't know.
He said he's charging to talk to you two people.
Okay, Cash App or something like that. He wants us to
Here
pay
it is
him.
with Shaq. Here it is with Shaq. Watch. McClung.
Nah.
That guy's got a good set of knees.
Wow.
Yeah, he's awesome.
He is bad
And he had Shaq put a shirt on. Put his shirt on. See McClung.
Wow.
And he won.
How tall is he? He don't even look like he's 6 feet tall.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, he's a little guy,
He
man.
jumps boxes all day. He jumps big box, little box all day long.
Look at that.
He's about 6'1", 6'2", around there.
Yeah. That's about normal.
McClung is 6'1", 6'2".
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does
Next
he
to
play
them-
for? I don't think he plays for an NBA team, does he?
No, he's
Oh,
on the
there's,
G League. He's on the G League team, but he
What's
was
a
a
G League
prospect.
team?
It's
Gangster.
like the minor league of the NBA. So he plays on a minor league team. But
But
coming out of
after all this,
college,
I don't
he was
understand
good
why
player.
they don't put him in the NBA.
Well, he's not that good, but he's really good at dunking.
Well, like
But
I said,
he can jump.
he can't do this under pressure. You got to be under pressure. You know, the game. That's the real test.
Well, maybe it's just it's got to be a lot of pressure doing the dunks. That's his skill was doing that jumping up. But the rest of his game is not strong enough. I think is what Nas is saying. There's a lot that goes into it. If you only he has as an overhand punch, he don't have a jab. He don't have a hook. He doesn't. He doesn't have an uppercut. He doesn't have stuff like that. So that's basically what Nas is saying. He's a good player. He can do dunks really well, but for the rest of the game, he can't do it.
Yeah, don't cry for him too much though. He's getting paid in the G League, and eventually he'll go play overseas and get paid even more. So he's not an NBA player, but he's gonna make some money. He'll be fine.
Yeah.
Okay,
He's got
move
skills.
on. Nas, did you have anything else with sports before I leave sports?
No, not that I could think of. Baseball's coming up. I would say everybody get ready for that, but yeah, that's about it. We got baseball coming up, and somehow they messed up the uniforms, but they've already shipped, and it appears through certain light the uniforms are transparent. So I don't know how they're going to get around that. They got to figure out something.
We also have hockey, and we also have college basketball, my favorite, coming.
Yeah, March Madness is around the corner.
March Madness is around the corner.
We ought to do it on the show. We ought to do it all of us submit our own picks.
Yeah, we ought to do our what do we call that?
A bracket.
Anyway, our bracket. Thank you. So I've been meaning, I've made a mistake. I don't know how I did it. I've been meaning to talk about Black History Month. It's February. We've gone through. Black History Month is February. This is February for 2 weeks straight, but we haven't talked about Black History Month, and that's kind of been my fault. I run out of time at the end of the show.
Well, you are a Republican.
So this week we're going to do something a little different. We're going to start the show with Black History Month and then get into politics, and that should fix it. However, I'm going to keep talking about Black History Month until March 6th, because since we missed 2 weeks in February, I have to make it up. So that's going to take us into Women's Month. March is Women's Month, but that's going to take us into it. But we're still going to be talking about Black history since I missed it 2 weeks. Okay. So for
how
Black
come ain't no White History Month?
So for Black History Month, does anyone want to do any type of tribute, Cousin Todd, for Black History Month?
No, Todd.
He's still not.
I don't know where Todd is.
Yeah, Frederick Douglass is the man that I honor so much here, because the man, I'll just say that for a man to come from slavery, to escape slavery, as I understand in his biography I read years ago, that I don't remember exactly the details, but apparently he beat up his slave master, escaped slavery, and made quite a remarkable career of himself, writing as a writer, and starting the Morning Star. Was it Morning Star? Well, North Star. Is that what it was?
Yes.
The pastor knows about this stuff. So I just think that I think that Frederick Douglass is the man. Yeah. And
Okay,
there's
thank you,
I
Stephen.
did too.
Anything on Black History Month?
Yeah, I've read a couple books on him. He really was quite extraordinary, man.
yeah.
I believe that we're so intertwined. Everybody's intertwined in this country, the black and white and everyone else. I think to me, it's just silly because every month is our shared month
Well,
of
just leave it
history.
alone. Just
No,
leave
no,
it
no.
alone.
I won't leave.
We
I'm
don't
just
need
saying
that.
I'm just saying my
We don't.
opinion that
We don't
that
need
it's
that.
more important that I believe.
Well, no,
Wait a
it's not
minute.
more important.
Wait a
We don't
minute.
need to
I
hear.
believe every month.
We
I
don't
believe
care.
every month should
We
be
don't care.
celebrated
No,
We
You're
don't
going
equally.
to
care.
Keith, can
hijack
you
the
let him
show,
finish?
and you're not.
Let's
No,
go.
I believe every
you're
Pass.
going
month
to
should be
hijack the
Pass the
show.
celebrated
mic.
What
for
is
Pass
this?
the mic.
history, that we all
That's to
share the
change the
history and we
topic.
should celebrate the history that we
Yeah,
share.
Black History
Pastor
Month.
D,
Why is that
Either he's going to
why do we
speak
Turn the
need
mic
or
1
he's
off.
month?
not.
I
Move
mean, if
on.
you want to recognize people for a
Move
month,
on.
that's fine.
Move on.
But the history of this country is
Casey,
entwined with
control your
black
show.
and white people.
Control your
That we
show.
can't have one
Casey,
without the other.
I
control
can't
your
control
Every
it
show.
because you're
month
talking, cousin
Control
Todd.
we
your show.
share the
Go ahead,
Let
history.
him
shut
finish
up.
his
But
point.
No, I'm not letting
you
him finish.
Todd,
He's
you
showing
got to
That's
you
not
be
a
the
point.
topic
but why doesn't he let me talk?
because
you
we're
You're a
Todd,
talking
moron.
about Black History Month.
you
Either
Todd.
represent somebody or shut up. We got to move on.
You got to
What
have
I'm saying
Casey,
is that
no, you don't
we
want.
all share history.
Either
Okay,
you
okay.
spotlight
We
somebody
Thank you,
share
Stephen.
history.
or
Todd,
No,
not.
I said I've
Todd,
read a
I
couple
had
books
asked you
on
first,
Frederick
Todd.
Douglass. I think he's a
Boy, you
cool
ain't
Yeah.
guy.
read a couple of books in your life. Stop lying.
Your mama's lying.
Is a much better woman than your mama. Now what?
You don't know. I put
Hey,
up
Now
against
what?
yours. I put up
Okay,
against
excuse
yours.
me. Just
okay.
stop right there. Stop right there. Todd, I asked you
Don't
first.
use me as a scapegoat. You have no control here. Once he started
No,
that
I
nonsense,
No,
you
asked
I
you
should have
couldn't
said.
first.
talk. I
You
was
should
making
have
a
I'm going to
said.
point.
record.
You
I'm
I
going to
should.
go back.
asked.
Wait, stop. I'm going to back to the recording. I said I'm going to start with Black History
I
Month,
don't
cousin
care.
Todd,
Do
and you
you
were
hear this
nowhere to be
scapegoating?
found.
Do you hear this
Nowhere to be
scapegoating?
found.
Hey, Donald
Nowhere to be
Trump,
found.
you can't.
You were nowhere to be
You
found, cousin
cannot
Todd.
scapegoat. You should have stopped him and said, listen, either you're going to spotlight somebody for Black History Month or you're not. But we're not on your topic of what do you think about Black History Month? Nobody asked him. Now, either you're going to mention a Black person for Black History Month or you're not.
He
Moving
did.
on.
He did.
He
I'll
did
tell you
mention
what.
someone,
How about
Todd,
Malcolm?
but
How
you
about
weren't
Malcolm
around.
X as a person that I'd like to talk about? I love Malcolm
You've
X. And
already
I've read a bunch of books
used your
about him too.
time.
Believe it or not,
You've used up your
Pastor
time.
D's
How
nuts.
much
Pastor
time is
D's
he gonna
nuts.
take up?
And I
Now
really like
hurry up,
Malcolm X
Steve.
because he finally realized that all the people are together. He went to Mecca. He found out that everybody was worthy, not just
You know
black
nothing
people.
about
Everybody
it.
was
Shut
worthy.
up.
Everybody was no. That's what he did. That's what Malcolm X said. That's what got him killed by his own
No, you
people
watched the
because he
movie.
said we are
No,
all
you
good
watched the movie.
people.
You don't
We're
know what you're
all
talking about.
together. He
Okay,
had a
thank you.
revelation. God found
Thank you.
Malcolm X's
No,
heart
shut
because at
up,
his
man.
heart and his soul, Malcolm X was
Shut
a
up.
beautiful person from day one. From day one.
Thank
And then
you.
God got him here and he said, I got a revelation. Everybody's beautiful. And when he said that, they
Thank you,
killed him.
Stephen.
They killed him
Thank you,
just like they
Stephen.
did Jesus Christ.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Stephen.
Stacy.
He made a great tribute to Malcolm X, cousin Todd.
He did
Now,
not.
Todd.
He did not.
He said Malcolm X was a great person, cousin Todd. Now what?
Nas, you go next.
Yeah, that was
I want you to
terrible. But
take your time, Nas. I want you to take 30 minutes to say whatever you want to say about other topics and then come back to Black History Month.
Don't you let cousin Todd get you in trouble, Pastor
that was
Deese. Don't
terrible.
let him do it.
Pastor who?
Deese.
Nas.
This is a
It
shame.
says
Anyway,
D-E-A-S-E. If you can
man, just
spell,
let it go.
you
Let
know
it go.
it means
I want to
Deese.
protest the
Let it
pastor.
go,
I have to
Stacey.
protest him.
Let it
I have
go.
to protest that name. He's
Protest
not
your
worthy of
hairline.
pastor.
That's
because
what you
he
should
doesn't,
do. You should be
he
protesting
doesn't
that hairline
know the
every
Bible at
week.
all. He
Every
doesn't
week, you should be
believe in the
figuring out
Bible.
how to take your hairline off your head.
I
Anyway.
have to say, I have to do that.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm glad you apologized. Now
Okay,
you're done.
Keith, stop. Stop. Keith, stop, please. Go ahead, Pastor.
Oh, he can make Keith stop, but he can't make that demon stop.
I'm not a he. I'm a she and hers. Thank you. Go ahead, Pastor Deese.
Don't be
Yeah,
so sure.
So I'll just do Carter Woodson real quick. So Carter Woodson, the inventor of Negro History Week, which later on was adapted into Black History Month. Carter Woodson was a self-trained, highly educated author, historian, anthropologist. Like, this dude did a lot of work. As a teen, he would read the newspaper to his father and other mine workers in the area. That was part of his education, because a lot of those people weren't able to read. You know, they were just out of slavery for one generation. So he's in there reading to them every day, learning. And after that, he starts to hunt for books. That's a big part of his time, where he would go around different cities looking for books, trying to put together this history that had been so lost and not accumulated in a way to where everything was in one place. Him and Arthur Schomburg of New York, that's where you get the Schomburg Center. You know, they were up to the same thing. He writes 4 very important books. 2 are, widely known: The Miseducation of the Negro, then The Education of the Negro. Both really good books. Kind of, you could discuss those today, looking at Black folks as far as, class and job status and everything else. You could gain a lot from Carter Woodson. But yeah, this was a very educated man. And when you read what people said that actually knew him around the era, the thing that stuck out is not a lot of room for entertainment, not a lot of room for anything that he would call frivolous. Just a really hard man, really educated, and that was the majority of his time. It spent reading or compiling information, because that information was so scarce and hard to find at the time. So, he devoted himself to that, the education of our people in this nation. And it's beautiful that we still have this month, and that people kind of perk up a little bit and start looking into things and learning. But Carter Woodson was one of the people that got a lot of Americans on that journey. And, you can go down and visit one of the homes he lived in that they've turned into a little museum. And, just look into Carter G. Woodson tonight. I think it'd be a good practice for a lot of people, just because he's so unknown and mostly just kind of dismissed because of that book, which hurt a lot of people's feelings. So, yeah, I'll just throw out Carter G. Woodson.
Thank you. Cousin Todd.
Okay, speaking of entertainment, I want to shine a spotlight on Josephine Baker.
Who was talking about entertainment?
He said
Carter Woodson didn't have time for it.
Didn't have, exactly. And Stacey, just shut up. She can talk when Stephen is gone. But when Stephen is here babbling, she's in space. I can't control him. Nothing I can do. So anyway, Josephine Baker, who was a great entertainer, who left the United States for Europe because of living conditions in the United States. And she made a lot of money in Europe and became a big star. And what happened to her was she came back to the United States, and they wanted to put her in movies as a maid. And she refused to play a maid because she said, I have maids of my own, white ones. And so she didn't fare well in the United States. She was against discrimination, and she tried to segregate the armed services and got in trouble for that. She would be entertaining the troops, and she would be singing for the white troops in the front and the blacks in the back. And of course, she said, I won't sing to white people without, integrating blacks. So she was just ahead of her time, and she did a lot. She was also, well, I'm not going to get into all that. She was just a great American. She gave up her United States citizenship, though, because of her treatment in the United States.
Okay.
And she adopted a bunch of children of all backgrounds, which Keith and Stephen would love that. Ethnic backgrounds. And she was just a great humanitarian. And she was very
assertive. Yep.
Helpful in the war against Hitler.
She was a real genuine person, because nowadays liberals do not denounce their United States citizenship. They ought to, but they don't. So she walked the streets of Paris with a cheetah on a dime.
Isn't that funny?
Diamond Leash.
Isn't that
Like when
crazy?
you talk about
I
Josephine
love
Baker,
that.
like the
Yeah.
aggression was one thing. The idea that
Mm-hmm.
I'm not second class to anybody, and
Mm-hmm.
that kind of spirit. I mean, it's an unbreakable spirit, and that's the kind of aggression that's needed during periods like that.
Absolutely.
And yeah, she was amazing. Man. I'm glad you brought her up, Tom.
Yeah, very good.
Very good.
Thank you. Now we will go into the Russian war. With Ukraine.
Before you do that, let me just explain to the ignorant people who don't know any better. The reason there is a Black History Week, now month, was because Black history was not taught in the United States. Something like what the governor of Florida is trying to do now, ban African American studies. So that's why we had to have a specific month so that people would know about Blacks and their contributions. That was the
Wow.
reason it started. And so it's continuing, especially when you have DeSantis saying no more Black History Month, no more Black History books. We want to ban it. So that's why we have to have a Black History Month, dum-dum.
Do you think?
Yeah, and
Are they
Todd,
teaching?
that's a great point because that's kind
Great.
of the dilemma America lives with. The dilemma is, do you include everything and say, hey, we messed up sometimes and we tried to get things right, we tried to fix the things that were wrong, or do you want to live under mythology and just come up with this founding fathers idea and push everything else under the dark side and not mention
Mhm,
it? So that's the
mhm,
tough part of America and America's soul. Ultimately, that's the fight kind of we're having. So you're seeing it in
mhm,
Florida, you're seeing it in Louisiana, you're
mhm,
seeing it in Alabama, where they're
mhm,
clearly just saying, look, we're just going to whitewash all this stuff
mhm.
because it might upset some people to learn things.
Oh, yeah.
Well, who are the people in charge of education? Are they actually teaching Black history now?
Mm.
Good.
Is that a serious question, or
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
my
just
God.
curious.
what do you
Okay,
mean?
Yeah,
Keith,
because
don't ask the question,
it's
Keith.
run by
Keith,
liberals.
don't ask the question. Thank you. We're
We
going to
can,
move on.
if you wanted to deal with that, Stacey, you can switch topics and go into DeSantis banning books, and
Okay, we'll go into that.
he's gotten so radical.
Yeah,
And
there was sex books for children.
Thank you.
ma'am, there wasn't.
Thank you, Steve.
Yeah,
That's what you
it was
read on the dark web.
no,
Well,
it's
But
really
let me tell
I've
you
seen
the
the
books that
books.
are banned,
It's
dum
got
dum.
strap-ons,
I'm going to.
it's got adult sex with children. That's what these books
We
have in them, and
haven't
that's why
seen the
people don't want them
books.
in there. Todd, I know
Okay.
you like these books.
Clearly,
Todd,
that's not what we're
you
talking.
must like these books for kids, Todd.
Clearly,
And then
that's not
that
what we're
says a lot
talking
Okay,
about.
about you that you want kids to have
excuse
these
me.
books.
No.
Okay,
You
let's
It
just
stop.
says a lot
Stop
about
disregard
right
you
that.
too,
there.
You
Pastor
shouldn't be
D
Stop
here.
right
nuts.
there. Stop right
You shouldn't
there.
even be here.
Stop right there. Stop right there, please. It's getting out of hand. Let's talk about the facts about the DeSantis book ban. I'm going to share my screen and we're going to talk about this now. This is from Florida's governor's office. I'm going to share my screen. Governor Ron DeSantis debunks book ban hoax, calls on Florida legislature to amend the law to prevent abuse from activists. Governor Ron DeSantis on February 15th continued to debunk the false narrative that the state of Florida bans books.
Right.
If you can read that right there, it says Florida does not ban books. Instead, the state has empowered parents to object to obscene material in the classroom. Still, some have abused this process to object to items including books about Johnny Appleseed, the Giver, and even the Bible. Governor DeSantis is calling on the legislature to fine-tune this process to prevent people from taking advantage of Florida law that is designed solely to remove inappropriate material from the classroom.
Right. So books that are banned, the biographies of Hank Aaron and Roberto Clemente, those were two. Wilma Rudolph, her book, Toni Morrison, The Bluest Eye, Zora Neale Hurston, The Eyes Were Watching God, All Boys Aren't Blue. That's another book. So when
All Boys Are Blue is pornographic.
So when you take these book lists from, or a statement from DeSantis himself, like you're on the Florida website, so that's a pro DeSantis lean, so you're going to get an answer like that. But when you actually look at the list, you'll clearly see, okay, there's a direction here. There's a whole bunch of black books, and then there's the books that Stephen was trying to talk about in his inarticulate way, but he didn't discuss the black books that we were actually addressing. So the main point here is for Liberty is no different than Daughters of the Confederacy. These are similar tropes that have been used in American history, where you get these groups together and they try to figure out some way to weaponize whiteness and decide who gets to actually be in the curriculum. So this has been a problem in America for a very long time. And Ron DeSantis is just the latest iteration of it.
It's a mischaracterization of the
I just
governor of
gave
Florida.
you the book list.
I don't know about the books. I know nothing about the books.
You don't know, so shut up.
I don't, because you say it, I'm going to believe it. Yeah. How many times have I caught you lying on this show? I don't believe what you say. I've got to know what these books. Maybe there's a reason that the governor doesn't want people to have it. Do you think it's because he don't like those black people down there? He don't like those black people, so they can't have their books read.
Yes,
no, there's something about it. Maybe they're pushing stuff that's garbage. I don't know. We don't know. But you expect us to believe you, that you're saying something we can believe? No way, Nas. You got a bad track record, brother.
You have the worst track record on the show.
No, I don't. I tell the truth every time. I tell the truth every time. All you do is lie.
Do it right now.
I'll put everything I said as truth against every one of your lies. I'll bet you $1,000 on each one of them.
Lie and be
I have not lied. The only thing I speak is the truth. I have not lied.
So if you look at the screen, it says myth number 1.
Absolutely.
The Florida Department of Education
Stephen,
bans books. Excuse me. It says the Florida Department of Education bans books. It says truth 1 is the department does not ban books. Each school district is responsible for ensuring all the materials in their schools adhere to state education standards.
Right. They got to reach the standards.
Reading off the nutritional info on the food.
Once again,
they're going to tell you that, but when we actually read it, we see what's in there.
Stephen.
And now it says, excuse me, myth number 2. This is from the state of Florida, the governor's office.
Why do you keep reading this nonsense, Stacy? Do you think they're going to write myth number 3? Nobody wants to ban black books, but we're doing it.
It's myth number 2. Every book written is age appropriate and has literary value for children. True, this is a lie. Books with pornographic and sexually explicit material do not belong in school libraries accessible to children. Myth 3. Dictionaries and thesauruses have been removed from classrooms. This is ridiculous. No district in Florida has removed any dictionaries or thesauruses. So I had to read it because you have to tell both sides.
That's not both sides.
The story.
You're giving the administration side. So
no, man, you just giving the lion side.
Hey, shut up, redneck.
Hey, you talked when I talked.
Hey, redneck.
Hey, I don't have to shut up. You don't shut up when I talk, man.
Shut up, boy.
I'll respect you when you respect me, brother.
Excuse me, stop talking. Stop talking, please.
All right.
Go ahead, Nas, so I can respond to you, Pastor Deese.
Don't call him pastor.
Hey.
That's phony.
If I go to McDonald's and read the nutritional info on the back of the sandwiches or on the back of the cup that tells me about how, well, this McDonald's diet ain't so bad. They got a couple carbs, a couple proteins, a couple this, a couple that. Yeah, that's because that's McDonald's. That's their PR. Of course they're going to say that. So when you go to Ron DeSantis and he says, well, we're not banning books. We're just stopping pornography and things like that. Nobody has tried to put pornography up there. There's no listing of pornography that's tried to be. You didn't even know a list existed 2 minutes ago.
The Blue Boy.
Shut up, redneck.
Blue Boy.
Okay,
Hey, you're a
Stephen,
blue. Hey,
stop,
you're a blue
stop.
boy. If I'm a
A book
redneck,
that
you're a
wasn't
blue
in the
boy.
a book that wasn't
You're
in
a
the
Stephen,
blue
curriculum.
boy.
Stephen,
Okay,
Stephen,
get him out of here. He won't
This
shut
redneck
up.
out of here.
I'm the one that
It's
won't
not
shut
in the
up, and y'all
curriculum.
talk over me all night. I can't even talk
okay,
about Black History Month
I
with
I
y'all's
do that.
mouths. With
Stephen,
y'all's
Stephen,
mouths.
Stephen, stop
I got
talking.
you,
I
hon.
do let
I
you
got you.
talk.
We
Shut up,
straight.
boy.
Shut up,
Thank you.
boy. You shut up, boy.
Shut
Shut
up,
me up,
boy.
boy.
Shut
Shut
up,
me up,
boy.
boy.
No more talking from
Okay,
you.
you're both stopping. I'm both stopping it. I've asked you both to stop talking. I'm letting Pastor Deese give his opinion, and then we're going to move on because I already let Stephen give his. Go ahead, Pastor Deese.
He's a fraud.
Think
He's a
about it.
phony.
For one, shut your corny ass up. So anyway, when one person says, I don't know anything about the topic, I haven't seen the book list, I don't know the procedure, I don't know anything about it, and then another person says, well, I have checked into it and this is what I found out, that's not both sides of a conversation. That's one person speaking out of ignorance, anger, and no suntan lotion. And that's another person speaking from a position of, hey, I've at least looked into this. I at least took the time to do that. So, the laziness here is the thing that sticks out the most. And you shake that ancient head as much as you want to. It doesn't matter. You don't know. He doesn't know. So it's painful to listen to you try to freestyle these things off the top of your head when all you would have to do is take 5 minutes and read a little bit. So yes, DeSantis
Okay.
has come under fire for this. They have a project we all know. It's called No More Woke. Now, who the hell are they talking about with No More Woke, Stacey? Like, come on. Let's stop acting like we don't
Thank
know
you.
what this is.
Thank you. I'm going to move on to the Ukraine-Russian war. I'm going to share my
That was
screen.
excellent, by the way, Nas, because they don't want to deal with the woke situation. And that's what this is all about. I had said on a previous show how Ron DeSantis wants to cancel African American studies, but he doesn't want to ban European studies.
Cousin Todd, you can't just talk whenever you want to talk and keep going on and on to the end of the show. You
I
can't do
know,
it.
because
sorry.
I'm not Steven. Of course I can't.
Now, if you look at the screen, Russia takes
You can't
Advika
tell
from
me to
Ukraine.
shut up. No, you, Stacey, you can't tell me to shut
He
up.
won't even let you talk, Stacy. He's the
I
problem.
know.
Shut up,
All right.
redneck.
Shut up, asshole. See, Stacy.
Okay, you're stopping this. You're all stopping it. Stop. Russia takes Advika from Ukraine, biggest gain in 9 months. And let me show you where Advika is. If you look at this map, you see it is close. If you look over to the right, when you see Donetsk region, over here where that map is, where I just made it bigger, you see that's closer to the Russian border, with the border of Ukraine right along there. I don't know if you can see that. So for Russia to have taken this part of Ukraine, does it mean they're going to continue to move forward to take more parts of Ukraine and not stop this war? Keith.
That war is going to go on and on until Trump gets in office. Well, hopefully we'll get him in there by next year. And it's just there's nothing. There's no sign that this war is going to end anytime soon, especially with Trump there. And we're just going to keep funding them.
And what's going to happen when Trump gets in? Then the world stop?
Trump will stop this. I believe Trump will be able to successfully get this thing.
Man,
I wanted him to say that.
So
you a cartoon, man.
Well, why don't you elect Trump? Give him a chance. Why don't you guys vote for Trump? Give him a chance.
Oh,
Okay,
come on, Keith.
So let me share this screen. Stephen, I'll ask you this question. Look at the screen. Can you see it? Should I make it bigger? It says in Kiev, Moscow, Russia on Sunday said it had full control of the Ukrainian town after Ukrainian troops withdrew. Though Moscow said there was still some holdup in a Soviet-era coke plant after one of the most intense battles of the war. The fall of the city is Russia's biggest gain since it captured the city of Bakhmut in May of 2023 and comes almost 2 years to the day since President Vladimir Putin triggered a full-scale war by ordering the invasion of Ukraine. Ukraine said it had withdrawn its soldiers, you see this part, to save troops from being fully surrounded after months of fierce fighting.
Right.
Putin hailed the fall of this city as an important victory and congratulated Russian troops. This seems to be a feather in the cap for Putin, Stephen. And my question is, with this win, do you think that the war will stop anytime soon?
Like the word on the street is, like, you put your ear to the ground. Russia's been doing a lot better for a long time, but the media's not talking about that. They've been pretty much winning. But what they need to do, what Ukraine needs to do, because this is horrible, this is so nasty. It doesn't have to be like this. They never should have started. What they need to do is work on a way out. The way out needs to come now. There's too many people dying. I think the average age of the soldier in Ukraine is like 53 or something. It's got to stop. This has got to stop now, because why have more destruction that we're going to eventually have to go back and pay for? We'll rebuild Ukraine. But what we're doing now, like Keith is right, with this war is not going to stop anytime soon, because we are supplying Russia in our own way, and we're supplying Ukraine openly in public, with billions and billions of dollars. This war has to stop. Nobody else needs to. Everybody needs to stop giving them money and perpetuating this war. Everybody needs to stop right now. And they need to bring these two sides to the table, because there's way too many people that are just getting destroyed right now.
Thank you, Stephen.
Thank you, Stacey.
Now, no one interrupted you. You got to say what you were going to say, and that's what I want you to understand. Now, Keith, the next question is to you. I'm going to share this screen.
Wait.
I believe you skipped everybody.
And then you went to Stephen, and then you went back to Keith.
No, that's not true. That's not true, Todd. You were just talking. It is not true.
You talk all the time, Todd.
With the invasion of Ukraine, I'm going to share this tab instead. With the invasion of Ukraine by Russia.
You just went to him with the same topic. I don't know if you remember.
Yeah, we're on the same topic.
Oh, okay.
With the invasion, let me share the screen. Okay. With the invasion of Ukraine by Russia, I think the idea is that Russia feels more emboldened to do more things. So Putin, Americans are saying, Keith, U.S. thinks Moscow is working on a space-based satellite anti-satellite nuclear weapon that they're going to launch into space. Russia says they're not going to do it. This article was written by Reuters by Guy Falconbridge on February 20th and updated yesterday. Today is the 21st. Does Putin feel so empowered and emboldened by his successes in Ukraine that he's going to launch anti-satellite nuclear missiles into space?
Well, he just may do it. Who knows? But what he does, he's going to fail. And I guarantee he will not succeed in whatever he tries to do ultimately against Israel. He's going to go against Israel. And that's what the prophecy.
What?
No.
That's what the prophecy teaches.
What?
Bible. Please don't interrupt. Please don't interrupt. That's what the prophecy teaches from the scriptures, from the Bible, is that Russia will come down and they will attack, and all these nations will build up an attack against Israel. That's the.
Now, where are you getting that from, Keith? I mean,
not Russia.
Not
Russia.
Stephen, you got to stop, please. Is this just Keith now? Keith, do you have some sort of news article I can go to that you're getting this information from?
The Bible.
I got better than a news article. I got the Bible, and basically they will come against Israel. All the.
Do they call it the Soviet Union in the Bible?
No, they call them no, they don't call them the Soviet Union. But it's in Ezekiel, the book of Ezekiel.
Trouble in Paradise.
That Stephen, you might be the only one who would read it. But anyway,
no, he's making fun of you.
No, I'm not trying to make fun of everybody. I'm trying to make sense of what's going on this right now.
He just made up with him, Todd. So stop and let Keith finish.
I'm just trying to make sense. I don't
know.
Where did it say Russia?
Like Johnson said, that guy, the Speaker of the House.
Mike
like
Johnson. Unfortunate name, Mike Johnson.
Read your Bible. Read your Bible, and you'll know the outcome. Because the
Okay,
Lord himself will deal with Russia. And that's basically what's going to happen.
Thank you, Cousin Todd.
I agree with everything he said. Because they're going to fail. They're going to fail. I don't care what they do. You're going to fail. Stephen and Keith, your jokes. Of course, Russia is going to try to send missiles into space. They'll do anything. And this nonsense about both sides needs to come together and discuss and then make love and then come out as friends. You're crazy. Putin wants to invade, and he did, and he wants to take over Ukraine. Period. He thinks Ukraine belongs to him. So there is no peace talks. He wants to take it, and that's that by any means necessary. And this is why the United States was helping Ukraine, because they told Ukraine, if you get rid of your nuclear weapons, we will protect you from all invaders. And now, what did the Republicans do? Psych. So people look at America like a bunch of liars. So our allies are thinking, wait a minute, you just said you was going to protect them, and now they're being invaded and you're not protecting them. So your word means nothing. This is why India said, we're not listening to America. We're making our nuclear weapons.
We've been helping them with weapons and everything and money.
Okay. I'm moving on.
Okay, wait a minute. You got to let him. Okay, Stephen, this is where I can't have it.
I know, but at least I waited for him to stop talking before I said something. He talks over me.
Okay, so anyway, so Russia, and then you have the Americans, like just low information voters who side with Russia, like Tucker Carlson, and he did an interview with Putin where Putin blamed Poland for being invaded by Russia. It's Poland's fault.
All right, so, Todd, you can't go on the whole time.
Why not? Because I'm not Stephen.
No, so, it's just you don't have anything interesting to say.
I know. And so
interesting.
What happens? What happens is these tyrants who Republicans start getting in bed with, just like Stephen and Keith said, that's not going to happen. They're going to fail. Well, Trump said he would encourage the fight. He would encourage Russia to go against NATO. Huh? He would encourage that? Now, what president talks that way? One that wants backing from Putin. That's who. So anyway, we should have been giving the money that we said we were going to give, but the Republicans said no, and then went on break. Oh, look, see, this was the interview. Tucker Carlson sat there for 2 hours and let Putin just go on and on with a face like that. And also, I heard he charged his phone with the United States.
What phone, Todd?
Tucker charged his phone over there. So they have all of his information. That's what happens when you go over there. He's not a journalist. He's just he just loves licking behind Putin. And so he's a Putin supporter. So now he's owned by Putin. Wow. That means any text, inappropriate text, any nude pictures that he may have done, and Putin has all of that now.
Okay,
so
thank you. Did you want to talk about
Stacey?
Todd, you're going on and on. I want you to be succinct and get to the point so we can get Pastor Deason here. Did you want to talk about the interview
before you go to him?
Tucker Carlson?
No, we've heard enough from you.
Stacey.
As well as Putin's response to Navalny's death.
The interview
in a Russian prison.
Putin was able to just spew propaganda while Tucker sat there and listened patiently and lovingly. And so he even insulted him to his face. He said, "Didn't you get rejected by the CIA?" And so that's an insult. Why even bring that up? And after the interview, he was talking about the interview on state-run television. That's one that Putin runs himself. And he insulted him again. He said, "I thought he was going to ask hard-hitting questions. I was disappointed. He didn't." See, he's an idiot. And so to give somebody this kind of time and let him spew that propaganda for dumb Americans to believe is irresponsible. But Tucker Carlson is a liar, and he was found to be a liar in court because he got sued and he went to court and he was being sued for lying. And the judge said, "Well, you should have expected for him to lie. He's not a journalist. He's an entertainer. So he does entertainment television where he can lie." Now you can look that up. That's a legal case that you can look up and you'll find what the judge said. Stop licking behind him, Stephen. He doesn't like you.
He didn't lie.
The judge said he lied.
No, he didn't. You're making it all up out of whole cloth. You're bearing false witness, and you'll have to pay for that one day.
Pastor,
Hey,
okay,
Stacey,
stop it, Stephen.
Before you move on,
Stephen,
I got one more point.
Stop it,
I want
Keith.
to make that point.
No, not yet. Just stop.
Yeah.
Stop.
Quiet that old face.
You can't go on and on. You have to be succinct and have a point and stop at your point, Cousin Todd.
Okay,
and Stephen, you can't come in and start addressing Cousin Todd in the middle.
I was answering what he was saying to me. I was responding.
Okay, I don't think you. Thank you. No need to respond, Pastor Deese.
Yeah. So the Mulvaney story. You done?
The devil is a lie.
Making sure you got it out your system, Redneck. So the Mulvaney story is really interesting because Mulvaney starts off as a white nationalist. He talks about Russia having ownership of Chechnya and Georgia and some of these other places. And then he makes kind of a change later on in his career because early on he was talking about Muslims as cockroaches who needed to be stomped out. And then he makes a change after he was poisoned and came back to Russia, made a change and stopped talking, about some of that Nazi stuff, stopped affiliating with some of those people. So people from around the world were kind of tuning into some of his broadcasts. They seen him as somebody who the state was against and people wondered how it would go. I mean, he was brave for going back to Russia to begin with. But just somehow mysteriously he happened to pass away while he was in custody. That kind of happens sometimes over there. Mm-hmm. So, of course, the world is assuming Putin had this done. Terrible thing. But then flipping to the war you guys were talking about, ultimately, this is a net win for the United States. Russia was supposedly going to get this over in 2 months. How long has it been? How many resources? How many tanks? How many soldiers? How much money has this cost them in treasure, period? This whole war. So, of course, they're going to continue. And if you're on the side of Ukraine, your idea is you don't want to go to the table and sue for peace in a moment where you just lost even more territory because Russia's not going to concede anything. So you want to keep getting supplies and keep fighting the war and see how much of the territory you can either get back or make it damaging enough to where Russia, when they do sit down at the table, you're able to walk away with a more a more
equitable
peace. Yeah. You want to walk away from that table with a little something as opposed to sitting down there getting bullied and, just conceding everything. So I think this is going to go on for a little longer. Who's president of the United States has no bearing on this. This is strictly Vladimir Putin, his whole reputation and his whole political career is on the line in this war. Because there could be some oligarchs and very powerful, wealthy people in Russia who decide to, conspire against him and get him out of there because of how much they've lost during this war. Now, the sad thing is they've been able to sell oil and natural gas on the black market, so they didn't lose as much money as people thought they would. And there are some European nations who are buying that black market oil and gas. That's something we need to talk about too. But yeah, I think the war continues. Who's president doesn't matter because Putin is, he's fighting for his very political life and where he stands as far as history, as far as in Russia, how he'll be looked at 50 years from now. That's what he's fighting for. So there's no way he just gives up because somebody got to. No.
Though, if Trump gets elected, he'll have a much easier road, and
Okay.
Trump will assist him.
Okay. So I had to have Keith. You wanted to make a comment. Go ahead, Keith. What was your
Yeah,
comment?
real quickly, I think it's important that I at least identify what I mean by what I say, so that the pastor over there, the fake pastor, doesn't
How
keep
dare you?
of not being able to do this. So here it is right here, the book of Zechariah. I'll just read a verse or two. It says here in the 12th chapter of book of Zechariah, this is the fate of Israel, as pronounced by the Lord, who stretched out the heavens and laid a foundation of the earth and formed the spirit of man within him. I will make Jerusalem and Judah like a cup of poison to all the neighboring nations and send their enemies to surround Jerusalem. Jerusalem will be a heavy stone burdening the world. And though all the nations of the earth, all the nations of the earth, all the nations of the earth unite in an attempt to move her, they will be crushed. They will be crushed. In that day, says the Lord, I will bewilder the armies and drawn up against her and make fools of them. For I will watch over the people of Judah, but blind all her enemies. And that is a word from the Lord. Thank you.
Okay.
You do realize Israel and Russia are on good terms. Netanyahu went over there like a year ago. They don't have
Don't
a
deceive
problem.
yourself. Don't deceive yourself, sir.
Are you sure you're not deceiving yourself? They're not at war.
I read it
Like what?
and I believe it. I read it and I believe
So
what it
Keith,
says.
it says all the
Crazy.
nations are going against Israel. That's what you're saying.
Yes.
Wow. So that does include Russia, doesn't it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I mean, it's how else do you interpret that?
Yeah. I mean,
All
we're
Okay.
not
right.
Thank
exactly
you.
Russia's
friends. We're not
Russia's
exactly
selling them
friends with
natural
Israel.
gas. They don't have
I mean, look
problems.
what Joe Biden is doing with Israel. Joe Biden is against
Money.
Israel.
Yeah, he's very nice to him.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you. All right. I got to move on.
Thank you, Stacy.
Thank you. The Fani Willis case. I want it, cousin Todd. Or somebody who's down there in Atlanta, Pastor Deese. You want to talk about the Fani Willis case and what happened last week? The case is ensnared in legal arguments during testimony about a romantic relationship. Even that Fani Willis's father testified, and here is a picture of him. He is an attorney. Pastor Deese.
Yeah. So this situation is interesting. So for one, just think about this. When we saw Fannie Willis in court, she was real combative. She was real aggressive. So it seems like that's the strategy they came up with her to get on the stand. The other side of it is, after her testimony, it seems like they didn't want to do a second round with her because they believed they had gotten what they needed, and also they didn't want to give her another chance to have the microphone because I guess she's a better speaker than I thought she was. She handled herself well, but ultimately the Trump lawyers, their job was to do what? Delay this case or get it thrown out any way that they could. So this was the thread that they pulled on. And no matter what, her having that cash in the house and her talking about making cash payments, that's going to be a problem for her, and that's going to be a problem for the state of Georgia. So Trump's lawyers did their job well, but I think Fannie kind of comported herself way better than people expected. Like, you should see what women were saying on social media, because women were immediately identifying with not only what she was saying, but the way she positioned it to seem like the prosecutor was, or the lawyer was, some type of sexist who was trying to berate a woman, and she was responding to him. So, I mean, she's really good on the stand. That part kind of surprised me. But the cash part, that's the part that's going to be a problem. So we'll see. Either she stays on the case, or they move the case to another office. If so, the problem for Trump becomes still, we've got the phone call, We've got him telling how many votes he needs, him using the political office to put pressure on a local representative. Like, all those things are violations and are wrong. So the only thing they've got is to try to get Fannie to make a huge mistake so they can get this case thrown out, because they don't want this to go to trial. So yeah, I thought this was amazing. And the weird part again, go ahead. If you're ready, go ahead, brother. I'm not going to take up all your time. You need to say something?
No, I just said, wow, man. I can't, I haven't heard that side yet that you just brought out. I'm like, wow, I didn't know somebody felt like that. That's just, it's good. I'm glad you have your opinion.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. So I'll finish my time very quickly, Stacey. And I'll just say this. The only problem with their cash route line is Wade has been a judge for 10 years and he's been a lawyer for 20 years. They want to present this as if this was a down on his luck guy who was cheating on his wife, who needed the money. Problem was, this guy, by taking this job, he's actually making less money than he would, trying other cases. So that's the part that they're going to have trouble making stick. The idea that this was some kind of pay for play scheme, as if she needed to give her boyfriend this money and that's why he's on the case. Most important case of her career. I highly doubt she's bringing on somebody who's not good at their job. So that's where, it kind of gets funky. But yeah, I want to hear everybody else on this.
So this is Fani Willis and the gentleman he just mentioned, Wade, special prosecutor Nathan Wade, who you said was a judge. Cousin Todd?
Okay. This case is silly. And this is what people are saying about it.
The whole case.
Right. They're saying this is silly. This is a woman and a man. And if they feel like dating, they'll date. It has nothing to do with a money transfer. And her having cash at her house, most Black people have some cash at the house. And so, and then her being raised by her father, who instilled in her to make sure you have cash, because that was a good story he told about. Sometimes they wouldn't even accept his credit cards. This is what happens in the South. And so there was no pay for play in terms of, oh, she profited, which is what the legal motion was, that she profited from giving him this job, and she did not. And so she made her point clear that she didn't profit. She can afford to take trips on her own, making $200,000. And it wasn't a situation where, oh, he put so much money in her bank account, or he got taking a few trips. Come on. So the judge is not buying it. And so they've failed to prove their case, though the case would continue with somebody else, but it would hold it up, which is what Trump wants to do, hold it up until I can try to become president. And so, but she did well in terms of her fiery personality and, no, you're confused. I'm not on trial here, that kind of a thing. That's exciting. It gets people fired up. I didn't talk to anybody that thought she was benefiting somehow from giving him this job, making pittance, because she tried to hire a white guy before him who would not take the job because it's not enough money. And he said he would have to get bodyguards. And he's already lived that life for 4 years because of crazy Trump supporters. They would come after him. So he didn't want security for the next 4 years. He said no, and it's not enough money because he can't take other jobs because he would have to devote all of his time to this one case. So it wasn't worth it.
Okay, thank you. Keith, your comment.
Well, best I can say is that pride goes before a fall. In other words, a haughty spirit. She is a woman who is obsessed and possessed with a spirit of haughtiness, pride.
What is haughty? Wait.
Is going
She's so haughty. She's so haughty.
So she will fall. she's going to fall eventually because
Is Trump hardy?
with those demonic spirits, that spirit of Jezebel, she'll fall.
Jezebel. That means she's a floozy. What is Trump, who
That's
cheated on every wife he had?
spirit of Jezebel. That's
That's, you know what, it's almost Women's Month, Keith, and for you to solely blame a woman for doing something that a man allowed or men allowed her to do, and for Todd to bring up Trump having multiple partners and cheating, people unfortunately cheat, but to say this woman is she's not cheating
Jezebel.
alone, she's not with someone alone, she's not alone, and she's not like
Stacey
totally,
woke
to say
up.
that
well. The reason I said what I
is not
said,
good.
you heard what I said. I said she has a haughty spirit, a prideful
You
spirit.
don't know that.
Spirit.
And
that, if anything,
why
if
keep
you don't agree with
attacking?
the sexuals, I didn't even mention the sexual stuff. I just said that she is a prideful woman.
A Jezebel.
You don't know if she's prideful or not.
Oh,
But to
you didn't
attack
hear on the stand?
and say this is
No.
solely a woman's thing, I just
You
feel like
hear
that's
on the
one more
stand?
thing where you're attacking a woman as
Yeah,
opposed to attack a man.
because she was
So
on the
attack
stand.
him. Excuse me, attack Wade, the other guy, attack him too, because he's the one that's married.
Yeah, but
So how do you attack her and not attack him? He's married.
she had the authority to hire him. She had the authority, and she was misusing that authority. That's why I attacked her.
Because she liked a boy? You Republicans think a girl should like a boy and get together and procreate and keep the baby. You're a sick, two-faced criminal. Listen, Trump is a womanizer. He never called Trump hardy or a Jezebel, and Trump gets on the stand and says anything he wants. You never said Trump was hardy.
Was Trump
Only a black
womanizer when he
woman
was
is
president?
hardy and a Jezebel.
Was he a womanizer when he was president? Is that what you're saying?
Ma'am, he's been a womanizer all of his life, and you know that.
When he was president?
Why are we talking about Trump?
Get out of my face.
When he was president.
Why are we talking about Trump?
I'll tell you why.
amazing.
You asked the question.
Even Bill Clinton, even my wife even said this. I'm going to say this. Bill Clinton, when he was in the Oval Office, doing things with those women. Now, that
why are we talking about Bill Clinton?
I don't know, but I'm going to stop you right there. Stephen, let's move on to your comment about Fannie Willis. And then we're out of time.
Yeah, something's really funky about something's really funky about Fannie. We know it's funky. We know she's doing something funky. They got the goods on her. And also she used campaign money. She used campaign money that she turned to cash. And that's a federal offense. You can't do that. This woman ran on taking on Donald Trump. You know what? Instant karma got her. Because she said, I hate Donald Trump. When you hate, that's what I've been trying to tell you on the show. When you hate, instant karma's going to get you, or whatever's going to get you. And it got her. And she's in a lot of trouble. She'll go to prison. And Donald Trump didn't say, create me 11,000 votes. Donald Trump said, find me 11,000 votes. That's a huge difference. That's a huge difference. That's what he did. Because he said, because we all know that that election with Donald Trump was garbage. And it was rigged and it was stolen. And you know how I know that? Because they couldn't have him win another 4 years. You know how I know that, Todd? Because they're keeping him out of office now. They won't let him have another 4 years now. So this is critical independent thinking, Todd. If they won't let him run for president now, how could they let him win in 2020? Use your brain. Use your brain. Use your head more for this than just keeping that condom on your head.
You can run for president from jail.
Use your head. They can't let him be president in 2020, and they can't let him be president now. And that's all the proof you need to know that the election was stolen, because they're stealing it now with these bogus cases and all the crap they do against him. And then you have Denver and other states. Wait a minute, Stacey. You have Denver and other states trying to keep him off the ballot. So the only person
Okay,
that did
stop,
before that
Stephen.
was Abraham Lincoln. He wanted to
Stephen.
stop slavery. Well, Donald Trump wants to stop slavery, sex child slavery coming through our southern border, and he will stop if he's president. So the two
God,
presidents
this
that want to
is
stop
Stephen, you're
slavery,
sick.
out.
Abraham Lincoln and Trump,
Stephen,
your
Stephen,
side wants to keep him off the
Man,
ballot.
out of
Stephen,
his mind.
Stephen, thank you.
I'm
I
saying
gotta
the
move
truth.
on.
I'm spreading the truth.
Student debt cancellation. Today, President Biden canceled $153,000 worth of student debt in
Well,
his
people,
loan program. I
Stacey,
wasn't one
not
of the
dollars.
people. I
Not
wish I
dollars.
were. But did anyone get that loan forgiveness? Please hit us up by text. Keith, do you want to talk about the student debt? Biden cancels $1.2 billion in student loan debt for 150,000 borrowers.
Well, I just want to ask one question. You know, it's interesting that when government does something, it only does something for certain people. And they always pick and choose who they're going to do something for.
For people like you.
Because there's no equality there at all. And I wonder what the Mr. Nas, because he's not a pastor. He's phony, everybody. He's not a pastor.
How dare you?
He's just joking. Anyway, he doesn't cite the word of God. But here's the point. Why would you do something for a certain group of people and not everyone if you're going to do it? So, I mean, you know, and that's contrary to the Constitution as well. The Constitution is very clear.
Okay. Thank you. Let him answer the question. You can't keep going on. You got to let him answer the question. We got like 4 minutes. Go ahead, Pastor Deese.
Well, Brother Keith asked a question. He said, how can Mr. Biden do this with equality? And I say, what is equality? When we listen to the words of Jesus and we read our text, we know that equality means justice for all. That means everybody, as many as you can get. So what did Biden do? Biden said, they wouldn't let me do the full student loan thing, so I guess I got to do it partial. I'm going to do what I can. That's what Biden said. So Biden is out here, 150,000 people are going to get student loan relief. You know what that means?
Preach.
More groceries.
More
money for the car payment. More money for the mortgage. More money for their lifestyle. More money going into taxpayer coffers. This means a benefit for all Americans. Somebody say,
where's the money? Where's the money come from?
Including Stacey, right?
And the Treasury Department.
Where
money comes from.
Let me know when Stacey gets it.
Where the money comes from.
Come on
Can they pay my car loan?
Hey,
can they pay my house loan?
Preaching the word.
This money will come back sixfold because people will have money to do other things within the economy. This is when people buy refrigerators, washing machines. This is when people buy a new car. Of course, this will be a nice investment. Now, the problem you guys are having is you're looking at this in the wrong direction. This is actually not enough people. It should be more.
It's against the law. It's against the law what he's doing.
Sir, it's not. Clearly, it's not.
It is.
I understand.
It is.
You have trouble comprehending. But
it's against the law. We're living. These people running this show are lawless. They're lawless.
Hey.
Don't let him get away with it, Stephen. There you go.
I know. They're characters. It's like they have a script, some crazy script.
Hey man, we just heard the both of y'all say ridiculous things on each topic you were presented a question with. But seriously, So no, this is not against the law. No, this is not against the Constitution.
The Supreme Court said it. You know more.
Supreme Court said it.
Why can't you get them quiet?
Like, are y'all stupid on purpose?
Yes.
They can't. No, it wasn't. This is. We've got an unlawful.
Okay, stop, please. Stop. Pastor Deese, I've got to stop you. Thank you.
Oh, look, I got to stop you. I got to stop you. Do you see that?
Fun with these ignorant people, man.
No, you can't. I want you to stop talking, Todd. Now, I got to move on.
Because you be shining, showing all your teeth.
I got to move on. We're out of time.
I want to know why
love it.
Keith's wife chose to chime in when we were talking about protecting women and how Keith was going
Keith's
against
wife is not
women.
on the show. Stop saying that, Todd. His wife is not on the show. Stop it.
She
I
chimed
really
in when
thought he was talking about your wife, Keith. I
he
swear
was.
to God, I really thought he was.
Stop it,
I was
No,
Todd.
talking.
She's
I
not
was
on the show.
talking
Stop saying that,
about
Todd.
Stephen.
I know. I didn't know. I thought you were really talking about. I said, I don't remember hearing Keith's wife tonight.
No, I actually was talking about Keith's wife. I know you want to be, but he's already married, so you'll be a polygamist.
you
But
walked right. You walked right into that.
I'll never get married again, and I'll never make a good wife.
so she chimed in when we were defending women, and we were saying how don't call this woman a Jezebel and a haughty spirit when you never say that about Donald Trump.
No.
And he's got a hearty spirit, and he's like a prostitution whore. But you never seem to call him a Jezebel. And then your wife was agreeing with you. I mean, and then she wanted to bring up Bill Clinton. He's another prostitution whore. That's fine. But let's keep it even.
Well, what I said was in office.
We don't have to relive anything you've said
while he was president.
That's enough. That's enough.
While he was president.
But Keith, I don't care what people do sexually. If they do shit that's illegal financially and they go against the ethics and they go against the law and everything like that. If it goes against the law, then that's something. If it's sexual and it's bad, like with children or something, I don't know. But what I'm saying, if she's done bad stuff, I don't care if she's having sex with this dude or not. If she's doing stuff that's wrong, that goes against the system, that hurts our system, that we depend on people like this to be honest. If she's dishonest, then she should pay for that.
Care about the system after earlier telling us the system don't
All right,
matter.
Thank
laws
you.
don't matter.
Thank you. We're out of time.
But I gotta say, Stephen's he's right. This is what everybody keeps saying. The same thing. I don't care if she had sex with him. The bottom line is, did she commit a crime? And the answer is no. And
we'll find out. We'll see, Todd. We'll see.
Right.
But I don't have a dog in this race.
I had a few things I wanted to talk about that we ran out of time. One was the President Biden's brother testified today, and Alexander Smirnov's prosecution today. They found him. They accused him allegedly of lying about Hunter Biden's involvement with Burisma and President Biden's
that dude's
involvement
going to jail.
with Burisma.
Yeah, that dude's going to jail for a long time.
Remember, Stephen, the laptop, Hunter Biden's laptop. It was.
Hey, I have no faith. I have no faith in the people who are running the show right now to make anything to make anything real. I have no faith in the people that are running the show. You know, for 20 years, that FBI agent was fantastic for them. Now he's got to be the fall guy to help save the administration and all that. This is what it is.
That's not an FBI agent.
That is, that's an informant, or whatever he is.
He was an informant. But Cousin Todd, you wanted to talk about. You asked me, Cousin Todd. You asked me to talk about what things about President Biden.
Let me think. What was I talking about, President Biden? Oh, just the fact that Stephen and Keith were banking on Hunter Biden's laptop, his laptop. And it's all because of this informant pretending that Joe Biden got $5 million.
We'll see.
He got $5 million, and he did not. So you
asked me to talk about the Biden student debt cancellation, the Biden brother testimony, about
and the informant.
I tried to talk about the debt
and the informant.
And that's right. I was dealing with the informant first, because that's what these people were living on.
Yeah.
And
why did you ask to talk about those subjects, Cousin Todd?
Because
it was always so important, because we told y'all from day one. We said, look, because of Citizens United, if a country wants to invest in any American president, they can legally. So the idea that you would do a backdoor room deal, and then you would have the son who you're ashamed of, who you don't really spend much time with, him be the go-between, like it made no sense. It's like a cartoon.
Who was on drugs.
Exactly. So yeah, man, I think we all know a black sheep of the family. They come to Thanksgiving and Christmas with all type of ideas. Hey man, if you invest in my crypto, we'll make this. Nobody listens to them. And these guys were using crypto. This. Well, I'm talking about from a crypto from one person and crypto from another are two different things. And you know exactly who I'm talking about when I say that. What type of people I'm talking about. Some of
That's
those
right.
people know what they're doing, and some of them people, man, they just get got every week.
Right. And then you're
Don't
talking
you
about he
yawn
was
on
in
me. Don't you do that, Stacey. Sorry,
he was in a peculiar state anyway. So Joe Biden would not rely on his son, who he's known all of his life, to be a good advisor. And so that was all nonsense. He didn't get $5 million. He got like $200,000 into his bank account because they checked all of his bank records from his brother, who he had borrowed money for. The brother borrowed money from him and was paying him back. That's it. So all of these things are coming out in court. And Jim Jordan, of course, is pushing right ahead with the impeachment and the interview. It's just silly.
Let's
But
see what happens.
this is a way to muddy the waters. So that way you'll think negatively. And it's fine. This is politics about Joe Biden, and that's fine. But the other thing was, we already talked about the monies that he wants for students like your son, Keith, not to have to pay $1 billion.
Keith doesn't have a son.
Oh, well, his boyfriend's son. Steven's son.
I'm legally
Todd.
I'm not his boyfriend legally. Only in Todd's fantasies, and you don't want to go anywhere near Todd's fantasies.
He is married. He has a
Okay.
wife. And he
I'm
doesn't
moving
like
on.
when you say
Look,
that.
are you going to go on
it.
and on and on? You've got to stop
No,
talking.
I want you to stop saying it.
So anyway, Stephen, your son wouldn't have to pay all this money back for just getting an education, which he did.
But you know what? You sign up, you have to pay. You make an agreement, you're going to pay it back, you pay it back. Whose shoulders does it fall on? Other people who shouldn't have to pay it. There's people that like have a over the road truck. People have over the road truck. They have to pay for it every month. And the gas, the diesel fuel. Why can't people pay for that? Why can't we get these students to pay the truckers? I mean, why do we have a little tiny group of people? Why do you have a small group of people that just gets free money? Because they can't be responsible enough to pay their loans.
Okay.
Why can't they be responsible enough? Hey, don't go to school if you can't pay it off. If you're that much of a loser that you can't pay your school off, then don't go.
Thank you. We're out of time. To our first responders in our communities, you make our lives livable. Thank you, thank you, thank you. To our women and men of the U.S. military for all that you do in sacrificing your lives so that we are free to say whatever we choose on the show. We are forever indebted. On behalf of Aguna, who dumped us tonight, the Nigerian moderate Republican, Keith, the constitutional conservative, Stephen,
out of his mind,
the independent thinker, and Pastor Deese, also known as Nas. We thank you for joining us. And my cousin Todd. I'm Stacey Johnson. Let's keep this conversation going on Instagram, Twitch, X, TikTok, and Stephanie Stallworth's The Flow Television Network. We'll see you next week. Good night.
You need to turn the music down, man. You came in loud this time. I just wanted to say though, just think about this. We're a little bit away from Occupy. Y'all remember that movement? What happened during Occupy? Occupy, we had all these college graduates who came out and said, wait a minute, the industries that we thought we were going to get in are collapsing. The wages are not keeping up with what we spent on going to school. And colleges and universities also have a lot to answer for. They're getting held from the right about DEI and some of these other programs. And they're catching hell from the left about, look, when we said college, we didn't mean you would turn it into a hedge fund with a big honorarium, because at this point, colleges are becoming almost like the president is a CEO and they're just there to collect money. And you go and mingle and make a network, and then that network determines where you work. And that's not what Americans signed up for when it comes to all the protections and tax breaks and everything else colleges get. So a reassessing of that is important, but Stephen, you got to be fair to these young people and think about the job market we sent them out into. Think about the housing market we sent them out into. When these people walked, we told them, if you study hard, go to school and do this, everything will work out. They went to school, studied hard, got the grades, came out, and the bottom fell out of
And
the
working
economy
at
as far as their
McDonald's.
industry. So
Mhm.
yeah,
No,
that's something to be discussed.
wasn't it worse during the Depression? They didn't give people this free money
It's so
during the Depression.
extreme.
We
What
didn't
is
have it
it?
to give during the Depression.
We don't have it to give now. Why would you just get a
Yes,
little
we
bit?
do.
And it's for people for just a little bit of time. The next people coming by are not going to get this. It's just this little tiny group is going to get free college. Is going to get free college, but nobody else is. It doesn't make any common sense at all. Why should they get help?
Why should they all suffer?
You're doing it for all the people who can qualify for it, and that's going to be based on not only your income, how much you owe, how many payments you've made, your history.
Yeah, but it's going to stop.
Payments.
It's
like all
you.
of that
Are you saying they're going to keep it continuous, or is it just for this one time?
I'm saying other administrations are going to take up this as well later on down the line, not because they want to give away stuff to people. It's just because of what I just told you about what college has been doing lately, man. Like.
That's
Then
right.
don't go to college. People shouldn't go to college. Half the people shouldn't go to college.
I used to tell them that now, but you can't tell them. If you'd have told them that 20 years ago, maybe you have an argument, but you can't tell them now afterwards and then say that. So,
but you can't take on debt. Like you can't buy a house or an expensive car, Mercedes, and a nice house in a nice neighborhood, and then go, I can't afford this. Somebody else. Oh, if you're going to be a doctor, somebody's going to be a doctor, and they go to school, and then we got to pay off their loan for them. That doesn't make any sense, man.
No, we're not talking about doctors, Stephen.
Because they make enough money to pay off their loan. They're not going to qualify.
But what if they're out of work and they can't get a job?
Why are you using the worst case scenarios?
I'm just saying.
Anyway, Cousin Todd, that was a good job for you bringing those up, especially the Biden one about his brother and the situation with the informant. That was a good job of you bringing that up.
Oh,
the informant was around for 20 years, never had a problem.
I want to read something to you guys real quick.
No, not to me.
You don't know.
I made the statement of. I made the statement.
Pick up a newspaper. That's what you go do.
No, I just want to read this. This is real quick. Jezebel. You know, when I said Jezebel, I looked it up, and this is what it.
We all done been to church before. We know what Jezebel means.
No, but wait a minute. Jezebel arranged an innocent man to be falsely charged, and she was encouraging people to worship false gods. She also thought that.
Okay, this woman didn't do that. I don't know why you're using it that way. She didn't do that.
No, she did. What she did do is she tried to charge. She ran on a campaign to charge Trump, to get Trump. A campaign
because of what he did.
It's the same thing. Yep, it's the same thing.
And falsely charged.
That's the karma. Karma's gonna get her. Karma's already got her. Karma's a snake that went around her head. She don't have a chance now. She don't have a chance.
Hey, Cousin Todd. They got that boy down so bad he out here selling.
And that is a haughty spirit.
Beat that man down to his last dollar.
Yes.
And when you do the things that she's done while in office, I would say that's worse than when you're out of office. Because you're doing it to the taxpayers, you're doing it to the people, and the people have to be.
On this show, I guarantee you have not made 15 good points.
I made a good
not
point
5.
So you're using our tax dollars to do what you're doing.
Which is what? What is she doing, dum-dum?
That's a double whammy.
What is she doing, dum-dum? I got to get out of here.
I know, right?
Look, whatever she did with that guy, okay, I'm not going to even talk
Christian
about
taking up for
all
Trump.
I'm saying is
also a constitutionalist taking up for somebody violating the oath of office and
ran on a campaign
of the bully pulpit called the president of the United States.
Persecute.
You couldn't write this stuff, man.
That's what Jezebel.
All right. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you for your definition of Jezebel.
That's it.